Hello, we are at day 6 of Bookmas, I believe. And today I thought I would look at the New York Times 10 books of 2024 that they just came out with, I think an hour ago. I was just Googling best books of 2024 to see what lists had come out, and this one had just come out like an hour or two ago. So I thought I would go through it, kind of give my thoughts, and I want to try and see if I can guess some of the books that are on this list. So it's going to be top fiction and nonfiction. Here is the list. If I'm looking down, it's because that is where my computer screen is, where I'm looking at the website. So it'll be top fiction and nonfiction. I can already see it's kind of already spoiling a little bit. I see all fours here, which would have been one of the books that I've guessed. And then it looks like James here, which is another book I probably would have guessed. I'm also going to throw out a Martyr because I feel like that is a book that has been on a ton of end of the year lists and is really popular. What's that new Dolly Alderton book? Good Material, is that it? That has been on a lot of lists, so I wouldn't be surprised if that one's on here. I'm trying to think what other fiction books I can think of that I've seen everywhere. Maybe Intermezzo, but I don't think Intermezzo because it hasn't been out too long, and I don't know if there has been that many like positive critical reviews of it. It's more been around the hype and the release of the book versus actual reviews and thoughts of the book, at least from my perspective. What else could there be? I can't think of any other fiction books. As soon as I see this list, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I should have guessed that. Nonfiction, I'm definitely going to say There's Always This Year on Basketball and Ascension by Hanifa Abdurraqib. I read that one, and that is very like list-worthy type book. It's very poetic, it's very smart, definitely. And I feel like he's a very acclaimed nonfiction writer now. What other nonfiction? I don't really know a ton of nonfiction. I wonder if this is going to include memoirs. So if this is going to have like the Elvis Presley memoir, From Here to the Great Unknown. I don't really know nonfiction that got released this year, if I'm being honest. Okay, well, I don't want to stall too long. Let's go ahead and look at the list and see what is included. At the book review, we spend all year getting ready for this moment. We begin debating our annual best of list in the spring, going to the mat for what we love. By fall, we're preparing for rhetorical slugfests. Ultimately, we aim to pick the books that made lasting impressions, the stories that imprinted on our hearts and psyches, the examining of lives that deepened what we thought we already knew. It says we delve into each of these books on a special edition of the Book Review Podcast, and we break down 3 picks in a handy video. For even more great books, take a spin through all 100 notable books of 2024, or even this list. I don't know what this list is. We'll look. Which features every book we've anointed the best since 2000. Ooh, okay, I definitely want to look at that list too. So I did look at the 100 notable books of 2024, and I made a video on it, and I only read like 3 or 4 of the books. So I kind of scrapped the video because I was like, it's not very interesting if I've only read 3 or 4 books out of 100 and I don't really have much to say about the other ones. The list is really interesting though, and it is a list that I'm going to go back to and read more on some of the books because there was so many books on there that I hadn't even heard of and sounded really interesting to me. So I should probably go back and kind of look at those books and maybe add some of those to my 2025 TBR. This other list is the 10 books, 10 best books of your time. So we will try to guess that one too, if we can nab that onto this video, or maybe we'll throw it in another video. So first book is All Fours, which we kind of got spoiled with. That's not surprising. This is on my TBR. I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet. Yes, Dolly Alderton's Good Material. We guessed that one. We knew that one was coming up. That's been on a lot of lists. It's interesting because I feel like people that are fans of Dolly did not love this one. Or maybe it's Ghost that they didn't like. Is Ghost Dolly Alderton? I have not read any Dolly books, so I would like to maybe read one of hers and see how I gel with it. James is no surprise. We knew that was going to be on this list and won the National Book Award. That is also on my TBR. I'm actually currently reading Percival Everett's book Erasure, and I'm really enjoying that one so far. That one I have a physical copy of, so I'm trying to read my Percival Everett books that I have physically before I go out and read James, whether I borrow it or I buy it. But I also am kind of waiting for it to come out in paperback because I don't want to buy hardcover if I don't have to. Next is Martyr. I guess this one's been on a ton of lists. I actually have this book. I pre-ordered it and have had it since release and just haven't gotten around to it. So I think that's going to be one of my books for 2025 for sure. You Dreamed of Empires. I have seen this book. I have no idea what it's about. Is it? Yeah, it's a translation, and it says history has long been in Ricky's playground. I still don't really know what that's about. Is there like magical realism in it? It kind of looks like there would be magical realism in it just based off the cover. Oh, interesting. Okay, I've definitely seen that. Oh, we're already going into nonfiction, so this must be 10 books combined, fiction and nonfiction. So here we go, nonfiction. Cold Crematorium, reporting from the land of Auschwitz. I have not seen this one. Interesting. It sounds interesting. It sounds like something I would be interested in reading, but yeah, I haven't seen that one. Okay. And that one looks like it's a translated work as well. Next one is Everyone Who Is Gone Is Here, the United States, Central America, and the Making of a Crisis. I have seen this book on shelves, but I have never really been super interested in picking it up. So maybe I will look at it again. I Heard Her Call My Name, a memoir of transition. I think I've seen this on other lists, and I would be interested in reading this because, I love a memoir. So I think this is obviously about transitioning gender, which I haven't read a lot on that, and I'd be really interested to read more. And then we have Reagan, His Life and Legend. I don't really think I want to read about Reagan. I'm not a fan. And then next we have The Wide, Wide Sea, Imperial Ambition, First Contact, and the Fateful Final Voyage of Captain James Cook. I have seen this one, and I've always thought it was a fiction, like a historical fiction book, just based on this cover. It looks like historical fiction. But since it has to do with James Cook, isn't he a pirate? I don't know. It sounds interesting. I would be interested in reading about that kind of history. So that's that list. A lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. So I don't think I've read any of these. Definitely a lot on my TBR though. So that's that list. So let's go to the other list that was listed here, and this is the 10 best books through time. I'm trying not to look at any of the top here to spoil me. It's gonna go, okay, well, I've already been spoiled because I can see this. So we'll just read this one and I'll try to guess 2023. Okay, so these are just a listing of the prior lists, and we have 2022 here, but that doesn't seem like that far back. So are we only doing the last couple of years? I don't want to scroll and ruin it for myself. So we have The Candy House by Jennifer Egan. I am interested in that book. I actually have the Goon Squad book. What is it? A Visit from the Goon Squad. I actually have that book on my shelf that I want to read first since I already own it. Checkout 19. I haven't heard of that book. Demon Copperhead I read. I really enjoyed it. It kind of got me on a little bit of a Kingsolver kick. Even though I haven't read any Kingsolver since then, I've been buying Kingsolver and hoping to read her other books very soon. I think the issue has been I've been pushing a lot of books that I've been wanting to read back because I'm really trying to hit my goal and read a lot of my planned TBR at the end of the year. So any books that I've kind of picked up near the end of the year, they don't have a big chance of getting read this year just because, like I said, I have a TBR goal quantity, and I also have certain books that I really want to knock off first. The Furrows, I actually read The Furrows as part of a video idea that I did that I am planning on doing more in the coming year, and I'll link the video. It was basically me going into a bookstore and choosing 2 books based on me and not looking at Goodreads, not looking up anything about the book. So I tried to pick a book that I had never heard of, which is really hard because I've heard of a lot of books. But if I had heard of it, I tried to pick up only books that I didn't know what the reviews were about it. So The Furrows was actually one of those books that I had never heard of and I came across. Unfortunately, I really loved the first half of the book. and then it changes to a different perspective for the second half, and it just felt like a disconnect, and I didn't love that second half, so it kind of brought that rating down. It would have been maybe a 4 or 5 star, but it brought it down to a 3 star just because that second half just left me at a weird taste in my mouth. But it was definitely a really interesting book. I would read more from that author. And then we have Trust by Hernan Diaz, definitely on my list. It definitely was one of those books that I included on my book adaptations to film, because it is one of the books that I talked about that's getting adapted into a movie, and Kate Winslet is actually producing, and I think she's starring in it as well. So I definitely want to read that book. Nonfiction, An Immense World. I really want to read this book. I actually started reading it and then got sidetracked with other books and put it down. So I need to reborrow that from the library maybe in the new year. Stay True, another book I really want to read. It's a memoir. It has kind of like a interesting cover to it. I'm probably going to end up throwing these titles up on the screen so that in case it rings a bell for some of you guys by seeing it. Strangers to Ourselves, haven't heard of that one. Under the Sun, not sure. We Don't Know Ourselves, not sure. Some of these, like I said, if I saw the cover, I would maybe recognize them. Okay, so we're in 2021. Oh, so we're going back in time. Okay. Why didn't they include 2023? Interesting. Okay, so 2021. What books came out? No, that doesn't help me either. Okay, I'm just gonna have to guess because I don't know how to I don't know how to organize by year on Goodreads right now. 2021. What was that year? I don't know. Okay, so fiction is How Beautiful We Were. Don't know. Intimacies. The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois or Du Bois. I want to read this book. It is just really big, but I'm really interested in reading that book. I think it's going to be one of the big books that I try to read next year. No one is talking about this. It sounds familiar, but I didn't read. When We Cease to Understand the World. Definitely saw that book, haven't read it. And then nonfiction was the Copenhagen trilogy. This book has really interested me. It came out in like different books, like obviously you can see childhood, youth, dependency, and there is like a consolidated book where it has all three included, and I've been really interested in picking that up. So I definitely want to read that one. How the Word is Passed. I've seen that one. Invisible Child. Don't know if I've seen that one. On Juneteenth. Red Comet, the Short. I don't know if I've heard of those other ones. 2020. A Children's Bible. Wow. What? That doesn't even sound familiar. Deacon King Kong. I've seen that one. Haven't really been super enticed to read it. Hamnet. I read. I really enjoyed Hamnet. Homeland Elegies, don't know. The Vanishing Half, I definitely saw that a lot, but I didn't read it. Nonfiction is Hidden Valley Road. I am interested in reading that. I think that is the book about the family that has a lot of schizophrenics in it. A Promised Land by Barack Obama. I actually have this as an ebook from my library on my Kindle, but I haven't sat down to read it because, like I said, I'm trying to read all these other books before the end of the year, and it is a very big book, but I am interested, obviously, in reading it. Shakespeare in a Divided America, don't know. Uncanny Valley, kind of sounds familiar. And then War, don't know. 2019, Disappearing Earth, I saw that a lot. Definitely interested in it. Topeka School, don't know if I remember that one. Exhalation, I think that's like that sci-fi book. Don't know if I'm interested. Lost Children Archive, I don't know. Night Boat to Tangier. I don't really recognize quite a few of those. And then nonfiction, Say Nothing. I think they just made that TV series out of it. I think it has to do with Ireland's history. I'm actually really interested in that one. The Club, don't know. The Yellow House, I think that is a memoir that I've seen before. No Visible Bruises, don't know. Midnight in Chernobyl, I have definitely seen that. I think I actually watched the miniseries on HBO, if that is the book that it was based on. 2018, Asymmetry, nope. Great Believers, I've seen a lot. I've heard positive and negative discourse about it. The Perfect Nanny, I don't know. There by Tommy Orange, I own that. I plan on reading it soon. Washington Black, not sure. American Prison, no, I don't think I've read that. Educated, a memoir, I've read that. Frederick Douglass, haven't read that. How to Change Your Mind, blah, 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 blah. No. Small Fry, a memoir. I'll have to check that out. I haven't heard of that memoir. 2017 is Autumn by Ali Smith. I'm actually really interested in reading Ali Smith's Seasonal Quartet. That is the first book, I believe, in the series. Exit West. This was a book that was really high up on that New York Times Best Books of the 21st Century. I had never heard of it until then, but I think it's also a big book, so I don't know if I'd be interested or not in reading that one. Pachinko. This is one of my favorite all-time books. I absolutely love this book. I can't say enough about it. It's probably top 3, top 5 books of all time for me. And I still think of it, and I love the Apple TV adaptation of it. The Power, I saw a lot, but I never read. And then Sing Unburied Sing by Jesmyn Ward. I have seen that a million times, but I have not read it. Nonfiction is The Evolution of Beauty. Don't know. Grant. Don't know. Looking Up Our Own Crime and Punishment. Don't know. Prairie Fires. Don't know. Priest Daddy. Definitely saw Priest Daddy quite a bit. And actually, you know what? I'm just going to go through really quickly the last couple years and see if anything sticks out. We have The Vegetarian by Hong Kong in 2016, which I read. I liked. Looks like they have The Underground Railroad. I actually have The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead that I am going to read next year. I mean, I've definitely heard of that book. The Evicted. The other ones I'm not sure. 2015. Well, we have a Rachel Cusk here. I actually have this book as well. I am going to read it eventually. And then we have the 4th book in the Neapolitan series by Elena Ferrante. Between the World and Me, I actually just finished this last night. So you can stay tuned for my December wrap-up. Don't really recognize any of the other ones. All the Light We Cannot See. I definitely read that one. It was huge. I enjoyed it. Euphoria is another book I'm interested in. It's just a very long one. And anything here. Sixth Extinction I read. It was fine, but kind of forgettable. In 2013, Americana, definitely interested in that one. The Goldfinch I read and did not like. Oh, and then there's a George Saunders short story collection here. 2012, Bring Up the Bodies. I have that. I have not read it yet. And then they have that Zadie Smith book. I have On Beauty by Zadie Smith that I'm really looking forward to reading. And then Behind the Beautiful Forevers, I actually have this book as well. This and the Zadie Smith book I bought after that New York Times 100 best books of the 21st century because they were both on there and they both were really intriguing to me. 2011, 11/22/63 by Stephen King. That's one of the big books next year that I really want to read. Yeah, that's it. And then, it goes into, wow, this goes all the way back to 2004. Okay. That's it. That's the last one. So yeah, this was a lot longer than I thought. I went from one short list to one long list, but it's really fun. I enjoy looking at those kinds of lists and seeing what I've read and what I haven't and what was supposedly popular. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know if I missed any of these books on here that you really think I would like or that I should take a second look at. I always love adding to my TBR. I'm going to slowly start thinking about 2025 and what books that I'm going to prioritize next year, but I still gotta finish this year off. I am officially at, I think, 92 or 93 books, so I have 6 or 7 or 7 or 8 more to go, and I'm getting there, but definitely reading the shorter books on my TBR. I have some longer ones on there that I'm going to try to leave towards the end if I have enough time to read them. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!